Hello and welcome to Math Lessons with Linda. Today's topic is solving a right triangle. So if you are taking a pre-calculus or a trig class or an algebra 2 class, you will be doing a lot of right triangle work. And today what we're going to do is use this triangle. So copy it down with me. It is triangle PET. And it's a right angle down here at E, and I'm going to label some things on here that we know. Angle P is 65 degrees. Side PE is going to be 20, and we need to find side PT, which I'm going to label as Y, and we need to find side ET, which I'm going to label as X, and also we are missing angle T. So I'm going to make a little space over here. The measure of angle T is blank, PT is blank, ET is blank. So we don't forget any of those. You will need to have a scientific calculator or a graphing calculator that will do trig functions for you. If you don't have that, you may want to pause and run go get one. So the first thing that is the easiest to find for this particular triangle is the measure of angle T, because in a right triangle, I've already used 90 degrees. So that means that the other two acute angles, which in this case are P and T, have to add up to 90. So all I have to do to get my angle T is 90 subtract 65. So that tells me that angle T has to be 25 degrees. I can go ahead and fill that in. So if you already have one of the acute angles, that other angle is super easy to find. Now, for the sides, we're going to have to use some trig functions. So let's remember we've got our friend SOHCAHTOA, sine, opposite over hypotenuse, cosine, adjacent over hypotenuse, tangent, opposite over adjacent. Now that we have all of these angles, we do only have one of our sides, but there's different ways that you could find the remaining sides. So if I'm doing it one way, somebody else might choose to do it a different way, but we should still get the same values for those. So I'm going to start off with the angle that I was given because I know that is right. In case I subtracted wrong, I don't want to use a wrong value. So I'm going to focus on my angle P, which is 65. In relation to angle 65, I have this side 20. 20 is the adjacent side, and adjacent tells me I'm going to maybe either use cosine because it has adjacent or tangent, but I'm going to try to find the Y first. And the Y over here, that's my hypotenuse. So I think I'm going to use cosine. So this is how I set that up. The cosine of 65 is going to be equal to my adjacent over my hypotenuse. So 20 over Y. Now, what I usually do is I just turn this into a fraction by making it equal to 1. And when I do that, if you remember from when you were working with proportions, I can interchange these two values because they're going to be multiplied together anyway. So I'm going to switch them. So I can have Y is now equal to 20 over the cosine of 65. This allows me to get the Y out of the denominator. All of my calculation values are over here. So on your calculator, you are going to enter 20, divide by the cosine of 65. If you're using a graphing calculator, make sure you are in the degree mode. And you should get Y is equal to about 47.3. So Y was our PT. So 47.3. Now, I'm just looking, and since this is my hypotenuse, this should be the longest side. 47.3 is definitely bigger than 20, so far that looks good. Now, the other thing I need to find is the X, which is the ET. Again, I'm going to use the angle that I was given just in case I made a mistake subtracting. So now I've got to find my x. So in relation to this, x is the opposite side, and the 20 that I have is the adjacent. Opposite and adjacent tells me that I can use my tangent. So I'm going to do the tan of 65 equals x over 20. I can do the same thing that I did before, and I'm going to switch places and put the 20 here when I cross multiply. So 20 times the tan of 65 is equal to my x. So now I'm just going to multiply through here. And when I do that, I should get x is about 42.9. And that also is smaller than my other side for the hypotenuse, so I feel pretty confident that I did that correctly. And now I have all of the angles, all of the lengths of the side of my right triangle, so I have solved my triangle using my trig functions.